Hello there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What I Painted for August 2015. I've been incredibly busy over the last week or so that's why this video is mildly late, but you can rest assured that none of this stuff was painted after the end of August, because I'm a trustworthy kind of guy. So a few models done, 3 different units. On the left we have some Britannian Heavy Dragoons for relics. In the middle we have a Reaper Bones Giant for my Kings of War Goblin Army, and on the right of course we have some Stormcast Eternal Liberators. So let's have a look at some close-ups, shall we? Firstly, the Britannian Heavy Dragoons. I painted these in pretty much the same style that I've used on all the other Britannian models. The green, I believe it is Vallejo Model Air Hemp, with then a bone colour used for sleeves and the little stitches on the material, and then just a wash over that of Agrex Earthshade. I like the way the helmet decorations came out, and you may have seen a similar look on other models I've done in the past, such as my Ravenwing bikes. It's very simple though, it's just painted white, a dark wash, and then going over each individual hair with white or dry brushing over the top, and I think it comes out looking pretty sweet. Very, very simple as well. For the armour on these guys, because there was a lot of unbroken metal, I decided that a wash wasn't going to cut it, so I went for some edge highlighting, so it's kind of a brass colour with silver on the corners, so hopefully that brings it to life a little bit. They're going to add some much needed heavy hitting power to the Britannians for relics, with the Hangout League coming up very soon. Moving on to the Stormcast Eternals, the Liberators. The fact that I started off just painting one of these guys I think has really helped how they look, because I was able to do a lot more than I usually would regarding highlighting and so on. And now painting 5 of them, it's not too daunting a task even if you're going to take quite a bit of time on each one. I think they all look quite good for it. I like how the gold doesn't come out looking too bright. The only part I would say could definitely use some improvement would be the shields and the shoulder pads, really just the black, but that's what I wanted. I wanted it to just be completely flat and really muted looking. And obviously some people out there have gone nuts with it and done all kinds of weird blending effects and turning the shield into flames and that kind of stuff. So obviously I'm not quite at that level. So including the free one from White Dwarf, I now have 6 Liberators, and it is my birthday coming up as well, so I'm expecting I'm probably going to get some more very soon. So I should be able to get an entire Stormcast army out there on the table at some point in the near future, so we can look forward to that, can't we? It'll be nice not having to move so many models around. Speaking of not having to move a lot of models around, Kings of War. When I decided I wanted a giant for my Goblin Army, I was searching high and low in all the dark, neglected corners of the internet trying to find the perfect model, and what this one came down to was a combination of it being just about the right size and the price. Because it's Reaper Bones, it's incredibly cheap, and the size, as far as giants go, you would say it's quite small, but it's mainly because he's in kind of a hunched over position, like he's about to smack an average sized person with that gigantic sword that he's got. This guy's skin is pretty simple, it's just light blue with the blue glaze paint heavily applied over it like a wash. The orange on the cloak, because it was such a large surface, I didn't think that just orange and the flesh wash over it would suffice. So before I applied the flesh wash, I dry brushed the whole thing in white, very lightly. Maybe it looks like it's got a bit of snow in it perhaps. And other than that, it was just very simple to paint. You don't see how much detail there is on it when you're just looking at it in its pure bones form. It's only when you actually start painting it and figure out just how many skulls there are on there. You'd almost think it was a GW product with all those skulls. And he didn't fit onto a 50mm base, which is the standard size for a giant in Kings of War. It does say in the rules if your model doesn't fit onto the recommended base size, just get the smallest base possible that they do fit on. So I ordered a 60mm base, and then I cleverly disguised the kind of mini base that's under his feet, which is a bit of a weird shape. So I applied some milliput onto the base there to make it look like a more even hill he's standing on, and then I half embedded part of a horse ribcage and leg into it and then covered that in snow. So I'm getting some good mileage out of that horse. Half of it's on a goblin base, there's still a little bit of it left. I very much like his sword. That was painted in the same way as the skin, except I then went in and did a really heavy dry brush of white over it, attempting to make it look like ice, and I think it worked quite well. You can tell it's not made from the same thing as his skin, which is what I wanted. And here you can see him for a bit of size comparison next to a unit of goblins. So he's nice and tall, would be even bigger if he was standing up straight, but his sword makes up for that with the pose. And if you look at the size of his fist, he could easily just grab a goblin in that hand. In the Kings of War game, Giant's quite tasty. The rules aren't quite so zany as the Warhammer Giant rules, or the Age of Sigmar rules now, but he's still a potent force, and he has a few special rules that make him a little bit tasty, so I'm glad to have him on my side. Overall, by my standards, not bad for a month, getting that much done. Considering the insane amount of stuff that I'm supposed to be doing this month, I don't know how much I'm going to get painted, but I am currently feverishly painting away at some Belgians for bolt action, so I'm hoping I'll be able to get those done very soon because I've got another game coming up at some point in the very near future, and then hopefully I can move on to something else after those and get that finished by the end of the month as well. But these are very exciting times, so it's possible I won't get too much done this month. An awful lot going on. We shall see. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look at my wonderful paintwork for August 2015. And of course you're all more than welcome to leave a comment telling me how amazing they all look, or how terrible they look, if you're that way inclined. And I'll catch you next time. Ta-ta!